Okay, hi, my name's Harry Nolan, resident of Middletown, lifelong resident, and a 52-year member of the Shore Athletic Club. I'm here today to talk a little about one of the club's first endeavors, and that is the Lake Takanasse 5K. Elliot Denman, who was a transplant from New York, he was a 1956 Olympian, moved to the Jersey Shore area. Actually, it was probably around 1962. And during that next 2 years, from 62 to 64, realized that there wasn't any kind of road racing or track and field events in the Monmouth Ocean County area. In fact, the only event that went on for all comers events in New Jersey was Tuesday night track and field meets up at Warnock Park. So Elliot, who I was still walking competitively at that time, used to walk around Long Branch, and one of the places that he would walk as part of his training was Takanasse Lake, and he would loop the lake, which is about 3/4 of a mile, 3 or 4 of those loops, and then head home. Apparently one time when he was walking, he got to brainstorm that this would be an ideal location for a road race series. The lake is pretty much isolated. There's not a lot of traffic on it. It runs off of Ocean Avenue down, around, and back up again, and there's a bridge you cross over for a short period of time. And basically, 4 loops of that 3/4 miles makes up about 3 miles, so we had to add a little bit on to make 5,000. So the club basically began as a result, really, of the activities that happened at Takanasse in 64 and 65. Now, the interesting part of the Takanasse races is originally what was supposed to be 5,000 meters, which is actually 3.2 miles. Somebody mismeasured when the races first started, and for the first 13 years of the race, 12 years of the race, it was basically a 3.4 mile course. So you would have people setting records there. We had a number of great runners that would come down. John McDonald ran there once. He former Irish mile champion, and of course best known for being the most successful coach, one of the most successful track coaches ever at the University of Arkansas. We had Milt Matthews would come down. He, during his years. Okay, going back to the 64 race, the first person to win that race was a fellow local runner named Artie Smith. And Artie was a championship, he was a state champion in the 800 in 64. Later on, 65, was state champion in the mile, and actually was the first local shore area, Monmouth Ocean County athlete to actually run under 4:20 for the mile. Okay, so he also, the previous year in that 800, he had run the first sub 2-minute mile, a half mile in the shore. So he was a pretty good runner. Summer lifeguard over Sandy Hook, so he stepped in pretty good shape over the summer. But anyway, he won, the first one, I believe the third one also. I'm not sure who won the second. The next year, 65, was an interesting year because you had a lot of people finding out about the races and coming down from northern New Jersey because, as I indicated, the only thing up in that area were the Warnock track meets. So that year we had some interesting people. One of the top runners in 65 was a fellow by the name of Ed Shattuck. Ed Shattuck, again, was the state cross-country champion. He went to high school down in Ocean County?
Central
Regional High School. And he came up and he won the first one. I was second. I stayed with him for most of the race, and then he got away from me in the backstretch of the last lake. And the third runner was a fellow by the name of Bob Baglione. And during the rest of the summer, which we ran, all the races, we mixed it up. Shattuck would win, I would win, Baglione would win, but it got to be an interesting series. So it made for a very interesting summer because we had some really quality runners from all over the place running. Now, what's most interesting is that in 1965, besides now the Takanasse race is underway, Elliot also had another thought. Let's start a club. And he had a meeting I remember it was July, and I think he invited a lot of top runners from Takanasse, along with some coaches and some other individuals, and it was held over at the YMCA in Asbury Park, and it was to formalize a club. Now, some of the people I remember was my oldest running friend, John-Ulo, was at that meeting. Jack Rafter, the late Jack Rafter, who was one of the top track coaches and the first fellow around the area to start women's track and cross country. The late John Johnson, who had been a great 800-meter runner for Long Branch.